Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and with this being the beginning of the month we are once again looking at our Patreon requests, and this one comes from Mistress Vicious, who has once again asked me to look at The Warning. Yes. Now, I first heard The Warning when they were suggested to me by Mistress Vicious, and I immediately fell in love with the band. You know, they are excellent. Brilliant vocalists, brilliant performers, you know, they are outstanding. I likened them to Heart, you know, because Daniela's voice is so powerful, it reminded me very much of the singer from Heart, whose name I cannot remember at the moment for some reason. Anyway, you know, so I've really enjoyed their music. I've looked at a couple of their tracks by now. In the past I have misinterpreted some of their lyrics, you know, often thinking, you know, whether it's about, you know, a romantic relationship, when in fact it hasn't. They've been talking about the relationship between themselves and the music industry. So, you know, I have made a couple of mistakes when it came to talking about what the meanings of their songs were. Anyway, the song I've been asked to look at today is Black Holes. Now, it wasn't specifically stated, but I'm looking at the one from the Pepsi Center. So it is a live version of the song. And this is another thing that I found out about The Warning, is they are exceptionally good live. I've mentioned in several videos in the past that I don't particularly like looking at live performances, because a majority of the time bands tend to lose something in live performances, you know, whether it's because it's in a wide open space, you know, the songs don't seem to have the impact, the sound might sound a little bit thin. That's not the case with The Warning. They have such powerful performances, such powerful voices, that they fill that space and then some, you know, so their live performances are exceptional. So I am looking at the Pepsi Center version. If I remember correctly, the Pepsi Center is one of their sort of hallmark. That's not the one I'm looking. Is that the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it's one of their, you know, shows to be proud of, if I remember correctly. There's a couple of specific shows that are like their key performances, and if I remember correctly, the Pepsi Center is one of them. Anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, we're going to be looking at Black Holes. It's got Black Holes parentheses, don't hold on. Normally with these songs it says hold on, but this one says don't hold on. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be another excellent performance. You know, I think I've checked out like 3 or 4 of their songs. There have been some that I've liked more than others, some that I didn't think were as good, but they were still good, you know, so I'm expecting a lot from this one. So yeah, I think we'll jump into it and see what we have. But before we do that, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already, it would really mean a lot to me. You know, I've been doing this for about 7 years now, and not even 3% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, which is a little disheartening, because, you know, I've put a lot of time and effort into doing these videos, and you know, I like to think I do something different than most other reactors. You know, they'll look at a piece of music and go, yeah, I liked it, no, I didn't, and that's about all you'll get. I like to talk about the songs, the meanings, the themes, the stories behind the actual songs. You know, I like to actually react to the song. You know, what is the song about? Which most other reactors don't do. You know, there might be 1 or 2 others that occasionally do it, but anyway. So, yeah, if you could like and subscribe, you know, it doesn't cost you anything, it takes a fraction of a second, and it does make the biggest difference to me and the channel. But anyway, let's jump into this and see what we've got. So this is The Warning with Black Holes, Don't Hold On. Let's have a look. Ow.
Broken bottles, didn't know I had these many scars. I thought I'd won all my different battles, but I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my love trying to forget. Ignore your calls and I throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on. Yeah. all the things that hurt me, they got no remedy, and they'll start hurting you too. 'Cause I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget. Ignore your calls, I won't throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on, don't hold on, don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, don't hold on, I got nothing left to give. But I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below. And the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites. And the venom starts to swallow me whole. Like black holes, like black holes. Don't hold on, don't hold on, they don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, don't hold on, I got nothing left to give. Don't hold on, don't hold on, I surrender in my defeat. Don't hold on, don't hold on, even black holes will let me be. 'Cause I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below. And the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellite. Like black holes, like black holes, like black holes.
Jesus Christ. You bastards. Are you proud of yourself? You made me cry, you bastards. That was amazing. I mean, that's Pal, or Paulina, however you want to pronounce it, however you want to say it, sorry. On her own, with a piano and strings behind her. That really gets to me. That just gets to me as it is. You know, I love the sound of strings. You know, I love the sound of violins, as is made obvious, you know, by the violins I own. You know, I absolutely love the sound of strings. But you put emotional strings behind a piano and a powerful vocal performance like that, man, that is just outstanding. And the thing is, I'm glad that I looked at a live version of this. You know, I didn't find an album version or anything like that, because I don't think it would have had the same impact. That version of that song was absolutely fucking phenomenal. That was amazing. And it's such a heartbreaking piece of music. if I'm reading it right and if I understand it correctly, it is absolutely heartbreaking. That is an absolutely brutal but beautiful piece of music. God damn it, that was something special. That really was. And you could tell by the reaction of the crowd at that performance, they were fucking loving it. You know, there was a part where the crowd took over for the chorus, basically drowned her out. You know, she had a microphone and they drowned her out. And then, you know, like, in the later part of the song, you just looked out into the crowd, there was all these, like, lighters and what have you, and the cheer from the crowd was just... These girls are just amazing, but that is just Pow on her own. You know, the other two weren't doing anything. They're probably having a rest, whatever. But my God. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, and please do correct me if I'm misunderstanding this seems to be talking about... it suggests to me a drug addict, possibly. And they're sort of reflecting on their life by the sounds of things, and this is where it comes in, because before I said black holes don't hold on, and you know, normally with songs just like hold on, you know, telling people to hold on to hope, but this is from the perspective of, like I said, I'm guessing it's a drug addict saying don't hold on, I'm not worth holding on to, by the sounds of things. And I mean, it is so emotional. It really is. Because, I mean, the opening lines are enough to kick you straight in the bloody bollocks, you know. Because it says, all alone in an alleyway, staring at my face in the reflections of broken bottles. Didn't know I had this many scars. I thought I'd won all my different battles. So, you know, they're all alone in an alleyway, staring at their face in broken glass. So it sounds like they're in a not too particularly pleasant part of town. And are they living in the alley, sleeping in the alley? Maybe they've just been dumped there. Maybe they've collapsed there after a, you know, getting high or whatever. I don't know. And, you know, they're staring at themselves in, like, these shards of broken glass. You know, I didn't realise I had this many scars. You know, are they looking at the toll that whatever it is they've done has taken on their body? You know, maybe they're like really thin, really gaunt. Maybe they look sleep deprived. You know, maybe their skin is, you know, just looking sickly. You know, I thought I'd won all my different battles. You know, I thought I'd done well for myself. But I look at myself now and I realise I am not doing well. And it goes, but I'm corrupt, I got nothing left, spent all my love trying to forget, ignore your calls and I throw the phone away, please believe me when I say. So I'm corrupt, so it's like I've been spoiled, I've been ruined, you know, I've got nothing left, I have destroyed my life, essentially. I spent all my love trying to forget, so... maybe they've sacrificed relationships with people, you know, they've cut themselves off from family, perhaps, you know, I've basically, anybody who cared for me, I have sacrificed them, essentially, you know, trying to get away from something, possibly, I don't know. I ignore your calls and throw the phone away. So again, you know, this is like I'm ignoring the people who are, you know, they're probably trying to reach out to help me, but I'm more interested in like where the next fix comes from. You know, I could be missing the mark by miles here, you know, but there's a line later that suggests to me it might have something to do with drugs. You know, I ignore the calls and throw the phone away. You know, I don't need your help. I don't need you. You know, or it could also be ignore your calls and throw the phone away. Like it's something that a lot of people with mental health issues do. You know, whether they've got like depression or something. It's something I've actually done myself. It's like people reach out to you, but you don't want to burden them with your problems. You know, even though they've said, you know, please talk to me, I want to help you. There's a subconscious part of you that's like, you know, they've said they want to help me, but I don't want them to hear all the horrible things that are going on in my mind. I don't want to burden them with all the misery that I have. You know, that could be what that means, or it could, could literally just mean I don't want to talk to you, you know, I don't need your help, you know. That could be read both ways, I'm not sure. But then there's this line where it goes, please believe me when I say, and then it goes into the chorus, don't hold on, don't hold on, don't hold on to me, don't hold on, don't hold on, I've got nothing left to give. So they're basically saying, just, you know, don't bother, don't even bother trying, don't hold on, don't try and hold on hope that I can be saved. I am too far gone, I am damaged goods, I am broken, or I am corrupt, as was said earlier in the song. You know, I've got nothing left to give. You know, I have ruined myself, I have ruined my life, and I'm aware of this, and I'm not worth your time and effort anymore. That's what it seems to be saying. You know, it's like, I am so broken, I am so worthless now that it's not worth you trying anymore. So just give up. Don't bother trying to help me anymore, because I'm not worth the trouble. That's what it seems to be saying. And then it goes, because I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below, and all the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites, and the venom starts to swallow me whole like black holes. And it's that line there, the venom starts to swallow me whole. That sort of leads me towards the idea of drugs. You know, I could be completely misunderstanding that, you know, because the venom could be interpreted as like heroin or an intravenous injected drug. It could be any drug, because essentially it's poison, you know, venom, poison, that sort of thing. But the venom could also be their own personal hatred for themselves. So, you know, I could be mistaken with it being a drug addict. It could just be someone who is struggling with mental health problems, perhaps, you know, and thinking that they're worthless, and, you know, that they're not worth holding on to, that they feel that they're so broken and corrupt they're not worth helping. You know, it could be either way. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what it suggests to me. You know, please, if anybody actually knows for certain, please let me know, because, you know, I'm just sort of spitballing here, and I'm gonna take a leap and say that this isn't one they're talking about the music industry. But anyway, you know, I keep coming begging for more. So again, this is another one that possibly leads towards the drug addict idea that I had, you know, because a lot of drug addicts, you know, they'll go to their family, you know, asking them for money, begging them for help, you know, saying, you know, I need a bit of money, and, you know, begging for more and more and more. Or, you know, it could be I keep coming back to the drug, begging for more, needing another fix, you know, talking to the drug dealer sort of thing. You know, either way, they keep going, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below. So, you know, I keep doing this to myself. You know, I keep going and doing it over and over again, and I keep falling, I keep making the same mistake, and the thing I used to hold so close, they burn. So again, they've ruined everything that they cared about, you know, all the friendships, relationships, you know, whether it be family, romantic, friends, you know, everything they held so close once upon a time, that they destroy. Everything that they care about has turned to dust, essentially. The things I used to hold so close, they burn. So they feel like they have nothing left. They've burnt every bridge. You know, they've got nothing left. And the love that used to shine, the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites. You know, so again, they're saying, you know, all the love and care that they might have had from friends, family, has been broken, and, you know, maybe the family doesn't want anything to do with them anymore. You know, certain people don't care about them. You know, they've given up on them. And then that line there, the venom starts to swallow me whole. So again, that could be the drugs, you know, being a poison. You know, the venom starts to swallow me whole. You know, I lose myself in the drug, you know, like black holes. It's a sort of endless void of darkness, you know, and they're falling into that. Or again, it could be the self-hatred, the self-loathing has swallowed them whole, and they are now in a dark void, a vacuum, as it were, where they're all alone, you know. So it could be one of the two, I'm not sure which, or it could be neither, I don't know. Anyway, And I know that you tried to stay, but my awful ways you will never overlook, and all the things that hurt me, they got no remedy, and I'll start hurting you too. So again, like I said, this is somebody who has so much self-loathing or has done so many bad things. They want, they've broken a lot of relationships by the sound of things, but they also want to keep people away from them. They don't want to hurt other people with their lifestyle choice. I know you tried to stay, so they know that there was this one person who wanted to help, that tried to stay close to them. But my awful ways you will never overlook. So, they've done so many bad things that even the person that really, really wanted to help them, the person that really wanted to stay, eventually it got too much for them too. And, you'll never overlook these things that I've done. I have done some despicable things, basically, is what they're saying. And, you wanted to stay for me, but you could not overlook that. You could not get past some of the things that I've done, whether it be taking drugs, or maybe they committed crimes to get their fix. They might have done some deplorable things in order to get the fix. Or, they might have tried to, if we're going down the mental health route, they might have hurt themselves, they might have overdosed at some point, they might have cut themselves or something like that, and eventually seeing someone do that to themselves over and over again got too much for that person. And they're like, I want to stay, I want to help you, but I just cannot see you do this to yourself anymore. I can't watch you destroy yourself. And they got no remedy, and they'll start hurting you too. So the things that used to hurt me have got no remedy. So again, it could be the drugs addiction, it could be the mental health. There's no remedy for these things. And if you carry on staying this close to me, eventually all these things that are doing all this damage to me, they're gonna start hurting you too, and they don't want that for that person. Then it goes back into that, because I'm corrupt, I got nothing left, I spent all my love trying to forget. Ignore your calls and I throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on, they don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, I've got nothing left to give. Then it goes into that chorus, but I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below, and all the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites, and the venom starts to swallow me whole like black holes. Like black holes. Don't hold on, they don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, I've got nothing left to give. Don't hold on, I surrender in my defeat. Don't hold on, even black holes let me be. So, that last line there, even black holes let me be, that's quite a powerful line when you think about it in the context that I'm talking about, because the beginning part, they don't hold on to me, I've got nothing left to give, that's pretty much what we've encountered before. But it says, don't hold on, I surrender in my defeat. So it's like, don't cling on to me, don't hold out hope for me, I've already given up, you should give up too, essentially. I'm giving in to what I have become, I'm giving in to what I'm doing to myself. I know I have been destroyed, I know I have been defeated by what I have done to myself. It's not worth you trying anymore. But that line there, even black holes let me be. Black holes are known for, basically, they absorb all light and they basically suck everything into them. But even the black holes are like, I don't want part of that. So, even the most powerful, all-consuming entity in the universe doesn't want that person. Even the most powerful vacuum that will swallow you whole if you get within 100 miles of the damn thing, even that doesn't want you. Even that thing won't draw you in. So they're saying nothing, nobody, no entity, nothing in the world wants anything to do with me. I am entirely worthless. I am worth nothing to anybody. Even something that will consume planets doesn't want anything to do with me. So they are saying, I am this bad, I am this broken, I am this corrupted, I am this much of a waste that nothing wants me. So that's pretty heavy, really. And it's an amazing line. It's such a simple line, but it is so amazing. It's so... I hate saying this. It is really deep. It is a really deep and powerful line. And then it goes into the chorus, because I keep coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crashing below, and the things I used to hold so close they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites, and the venom starts to swallow me whole like black holes. And it does carry on for a couple of lines saying, don't hold on, don't hold on, don't hold on to me like black holes, but that wasn't in this live version. I mean... These girls, they are, I can't remember, they're all under 25 if I'm correctly. They are such amazing songwriters, such amazing performers. It's just unreal. And, I mean, that performance was just so impactful. It was so moving. It was so beautifully executed. I'm so glad that I looked at that version, because, you know, like I said, I don't think an album version would have quite had the same impact. And I think the audience participation and the audience reactions to the song as well also helped inform that emotional response, because it was that impactful. And it was unbelievable. Absolutely astounding piece of music, and an absolutely amazing performance. And you know, you got to give it to Pal, because I mean, when you see her playing, because she's the drummer if I remember correctly, you know, when you see her playing live, you know, she's flailing around like a madman. I mean, she is giving it some welly. You know, she's probably exhausted by about 2-3 songs in, because, you know, the amount of effort that she's putting in, and then she's sitting there belting out her lungs like that whilst playing the piano, which again, props, you know, multi-talented musician, you know, and she gives a performance like that. I mean, just, god damn, these girls are amazing. Such good performance, and I'm so glad I was introduced to this band, because they are exceptional. And that performance was... that might actually be, out of all of the songs I've heard of theirs, out of all the performance I've witnessed, that might be my favourite, because that was just so powerful. It was so good. But I'm going to stop there, because I'm just going to end up praising this song from now to infinity, you know, because yeah. Anyway, if you I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, could you please consider giving a like or a subscribe if you haven't already? It would really, really mean the world to me. You know, I've been doing this for about 7 years at this point, and not even 3% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, which is a little disheartening, you know, because I like to think I do something different. You know, I like to talk about the themes, the meanings, the stories and morals behind a piece of music, you know, and that's something that I think gets overlooked quite frequently. Not by everybody, but it does get overlooked quite frequently, you know, because there is this common misconception in heavy metal where people seem to think that heavy metal music is all about murder, violence, gore, rape and this sort of thing, and that's just simply not true. You know, I've looked at nearly 900 songs on this channel, and most of them have talked about real world things, you know, whether it's talking about depression or homelessness, domestic violence, suicide, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. You know, we've covered hundreds of different topics through the songs that we've looked at on this channel, and this is what I want to talk about. You know, I want to discuss what a song means to you. What, you know, this is what the song means to me. What do you think it means? You know, because I think it was David Grohl said, you know, you can sing a song to 80,000 different people, and those 80,000 people will sing it back to you for 80,000 different reasons, because the song impacts a person differently. You know, how I interpret a song, a song makes me feel might be different to how it makes someone else feel. And I want to have this conversation. I want to find out what a song means to you. What do you think it means? I mean, with this song I looked at today, I might have got my interpretation of that completely wrong, but that's what the song said to me. So what does a song say to you? You know, what do you think it means? What do you think it's talking about? How do you interpret it? I want to have this conversation. I want to actually react to the song, not just listen to it and go, yeah, I like it. And that's why I do what I do. So, if you could like and subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. It takes a fraction of a second, but it does make the biggest difference to me and the channel. But, that's about all I've got for you today, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.